What's up, moto lovers? Back here with MotoCheeno, and today I'm going to be talking about 5 things I wish I knew before I became a Harley-Davidson tech. I'm doing this video because hopefully it can bring some value to some future technicians and kind of give you guys a heads up on what to expect. I've been in the field now for about 3 going on 4 years, and there's a couple things that I wish I knew before I started. Alright, here we go. When I first started, there's no way I can afford Snap-on or Matco or, maybe even US General, so I went ahead and got some Home Depot tools. I got me a set of the Gear Wrench starter pack. It was majority standard and a couple of metric stuff on the side, but it had all of your basic necessities: Torx bits, Allen bits, standard sockets, 12 points, 1/4-inch ratchets, 3/8 ratchet, etc. I got that whole kit for less than 200 bucks. Whereas all that, Snap-on would charge 200 bucks for a set of 5 Allen bits, for example. Speaking of Snap-on, the tool truck. Now the tool truck comes around every week. And be careful, because when you get on that truck, you see a bunch of shiny stuff. You see a bunch of shiny tools, and you're gonna be tempted to buy them. Ask me how I know. Buy them I did, because I bought tools that I already had and I got the shiny Snap-on brand on it, and I'm paying for that till this day. But stay away from the truck unless absolutely necessary. If there's a tool you need that day and you don't happen to have it, you don't want to go bother another tech and have them be like, hey, this is the second time you borrowed it, you gotta get your... So I went and bought my own. I got it still. It's nice. I use these tools every single job that I need it on, and I don't have to bother anybody. But still, if you can wait a day, that job can wait a day. Go over to Harbor Freight, get yourself that same tool, a little bit cheaper. Yeah, you don't have the lifetime warranty, but I believe Harbor Freight, for the most part, they are offering warranties. You just bring the tool in, they'll send it out to you, or if they have it on hand, they'll give it to you. Stay away from that Snap-on or Matco tool truck for now, until you actually need that high quality stuff. Number 2, how heavy motorcycles are, especially Harley-Davidsons. Now they're touring baggers, man, those things, they feel like 2,000 pounds every time you're trying to move them. Oh, and if you have low pressure in your tire, forget about it. Forget about it. How you doing? No, let me stop. In school, they didn't really make us move many bikes around, especially the bigger ones. They're already staged on the lifts, and we barely had to move anything. And if we did, we'd have to move those Softails or Sportsters, Dynas, stuff like that. We, shift around to do different diags and stuff. But the full dressers usually have a home, and we don't move them as much. I remember my first day on the field, and those the lifts in the shop are a little different. The ramps going up onto the lift was a little steeper, so I barely made the front wheel up over, and then as soon as the back wheel tried to get up on it, man, I felt that thing trying to come down on me, and a couple techs had to come in and help. That was like that for the first couple weeks, and then I realized that the best way to go around it is engage your core, buddy. Especially all you victim class guys out there who need to eat more eggs and do your push-ups. I would say push with your core and really dig in with your feet, man. Don't get those bikes up there, but and don't be afraid to call for help too. If you feel that someone's leaning on you, man, just call out for the next guy in the next bay over, because you don't want that big old bike falling on you. It never fell on me yet, knock on wood, but there's been some close calls. Now when you're maneuvering the bike around, I suggest finding the middle point. There's a balance point in every bike, and especially if you're turning the wheel. Now you're turning the front wheel, it starts to get the bike leaning towards you or away from you, and the trick is just keeping it in that middle balance point. So if you're turning, you're cutting left, for example, the bike wants to lean further left on top of you, or the opposite way, going towards the right. So as you're turning left, I say compensate and then lean the bike a little bit further right. It's gonna feel unnatural at first, but when you do that, you find the balance point and you're turning a lot easier without trying to hold the top half of the bike physically. I wish I knew this stuff before I hit the ground running on my first day, but now I know. And I hope this will help some of you guys out there trying to push those full dressers. Oh man, some scary times. But yeah, nowadays when I'm moving bikes backwards, I do a triangular point, right? So it's me at the top and then one hand in front, one hand in the back, keeping that bike balanced and holding 2 points of contact in the front of the bike and the back of the bike. So I either put my right hand on the back of the rear passenger pillion, or I put it on the sissy bar and my left hand up front, and I'm maneuvering the bike with my left hand, turning the wheel where I want it to, and then keeping my back right hand as balance point. That's one of those things I wish I knew going into it. I mean, I could have assumed that they were gonna be heavy, but I don't know how heavy. Yeah, there you go. On to the next one. All right, number 3 is how little money you're gonna start off making. Even after school, the job offers start you off very low. Dealerships don't want to invest that much money into you yet. They don't even know your worth. They don't see how what you're capable of yet. And any entry-level position, you're gonna start at the bottom. So just be very aware of that, even with your certification from MMI or whatever technical institute that you attended. Now, if you got some leverage and you've worked at a mechanic shop before that, or if you've wrenched on bikes and you can show it on paper, yeah, you can negotiate for a higher price. But for the majority of us, well, me, for example, that came in green, they didn't start me off very high. You gotta know your worth and know what the other dealerships are offering. You gotta let the dealership that you wanna be in know that, hey, these guys are offering me this much. Can you match that? Or can you top that? That's what I did to negotiate my pay. If you got a good resume, you got something that the dealerships want in their dealership, then yeah, you might have some leverage there. Know your worth and know the competition. Now, when we were talking about starting rate, there's 2 things to know about being a mechanic. There's gonna be a flat rate and there's gonna be an hourly rate. What the difference is, I don't know. No, I'm kidding, I'll tell you what it is. So with flat rate, you get paid per job. So let's say an oil change takes half an hour. If you spend 45 minutes on it, you still get paid half an hour. But if you spend 15 minutes on it, you still get paid half an hour. Picking up what I'm dropping down? Now, hourly rate is a guaranteed amount of money per hours that you put in that week. Like a regular job, a regular hourly job. Some shops might give you flagged hours on top of your hourly rate too, if they operate that way. So let's say you do an oil change, you hit your 40 hours a week, but then they give you the flagged hours. You'll get 30 minutes pay. So basically, let's say you make 20 an hour, you'll get $10 on top of your 40 hours paycheck. Some shops operate this way, but it's all about the dealership that you apply to. So look carefully. Number 4 is gonna be watch how you ride, because your job is going to be dependent on your license and your ability to legally drive or operate a moving vehicle. For example, you lane split in a state where you can't lane split. You get caught, you get a ticket. You do it twice, you get another ticket. 3 times, you're getting points racked up, and boom, your license is suspended. Well, your dealership's gonna find out through their insurance company, now you can't test ride bikes anymore. Now you're not coverable under their insurance. And now there goes your job. You're gonna be stuck in a wash bay or parts department because you can't take bikes out anymore. So be very careful, you reckless riders out there. Your job depends on it. Number 5 is gonna be how much you actually have to deal with customers. Me going into this, I thought, all right, I see myself at the shop. It's gonna be tech next to me here and a tech next to me there. Most conversations we're gonna have is us horsing around or something, and your occasional service rider coming back and, asking us questions about the work order. Man, was I mistaken. I have to deal with customers on a regular daily basis for many reasons. One of them being them wanting to see, for example, a pair of brake pads that we recommended because they were getting pretty low. I want to see how low these brake pads really are. And you show it to them, they're like, oh, all right. Or, oh, they weren't even that low. I'm like, sir, but we have a minimum specification to how low Harley allows it to be before we recommend new ones. Another reason they might come around and talk to you is them wanting to see the bike before the job's even done.
And the problem with that is they come and like, whoa, why is my bike torn all the way down? It's like, hey, this is what I gotta do in order to get that fixed. You know, and they don't realize on these motorcycles, you gotta take 2-3 components off just to get to that one seal or O-ring gasket. And when they come and see their bike torn down, they're having a panic attack, and it's like, relax, I know what I'm doing. This is part of the procedure. But it's not all that bad. Sometimes the customers come back and they ask for my creative input, which I'm more than happy to oblige. They want to say, hey, what do you think about chroming this part out? Or what do you think about getting some T-bars, and how high should I do it? I'll have them sit on the bike. We'll take a look at, a good comfortable seating position for them. Or they want to say, hey, can I run this size wheel? Or am I gonna have clearance if I run a wider tire? Those I don't mind as much. Come along and let's brainstorm together and get creative. I'm cool with that. I welcome it. And some customers just kind of want to see the process. And that can be troublesome at times, because the last thing I want is another guy breathing down my neck while I'm trying to do a job. Number one, it adds a lot of pressure. Number two, it keeps me out of my zone. Knowing that someone's breathing down my neck and just watching every single turn of the bolt. If you're gonna do that, please avoid the shop area. Going back to the point, yes, we deal with customers on a daily basis. So if you're a new tech and you think that you're just gonna be back there, headphones on, not listening to anybody, just zoning out, for the most part, yes, but at the same time, be prepared for customers to come back there and talk to you. And sometimes there ain't nothing wrong with that. And I got a bonus for you. All right, so this bonus is gonna be about diagnosing and how frustrating diagnosing can be. When I first started, I thought, okay, cool, yeah, I can figure this out, right? I got the tools, I got a manual, throw it at me. Let's see what we can do. For the most part, the easy diagnosis, like just a stuck brake light or a battery light comes on the dash, it's like, okay, here's your charging system, right? And I could figure out your easy electrical systems. Your alternator's not working, your stator's blown, your regulator's not regulating, right? That stuff I can figure out, but then you get to the pinched wires, the CAN wires, CAN bus systems. Now you're racking your brain like, oh my God, I gotta find one wire amongst 50 going down the spine of the bike. Bingo! Well, I'll tell you this, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. It's a very dim one, but there is one. You spend hours on YouTube when you get home from work trying to figure out the problem at home. You get to work and then you see if that's it, and it's not. You use diagnosis tools like the breakout box. Plug it into the ECM. Nothing is coming up. All the codes are throwing you off in the wrong direction. And then you're doing this for a whole week straight, not making any money. But then boom, that eureka moment. And you find the right wire that was bent during a handlebar job, for example. Something like that. All this just to realize that it was that one wire. But once you get it, the feeling feels amazing. The bike turns on, you're yelling, woo, in the shop. Celebrating by yourself and everyone's looking at you crazy. Like, yeah, good job, bud. But those are the same techs that did nothing to lead you in that direction. A lot of them are gonna get frustrated. You don't wanna pull them away from their time that they could be making just to come over and help you out. If you were a seasoned tech, would you help somebody out? You see them racking their brain, losing money for a week. Would you step in and be like, hey man, try looking over here. I ain't gonna give you the answers, but try looking in this direction. I found, in my experience, that this is usually the area of concern. But no, nobody comes, helps you out, and you figure it out on your own. How good that feels, man. That's what keeps me going, right? So do not lose hope or lose faith in yourself if you can't figure it out. Take notes. See what worked, see what didn't work. And for future references, when something like this happens again, because it will, you'll know which area to start at least somewhat in the right direction. Because the bikes change. Every single year you get more and more electronics. They get less simplified, but they still are not the same every generation. And it's up to you as a technician to keep up with the times. And also up to you to remember your mistakes. to try your best to not make the same ones over and over again, and you're gonna be on your way to be a master tech. That's at least what I think I'm doing. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. Good luck in your journey, and just give it your best shot. Peace.